Viva, viva Las Vegas! And welcome back to the Hockey Show. Now today, I am talking about the Vegas Golden Knights, of course. You know that because you clicked on the video with the thumbnail and all of it above. And today, we are talking about the worst contracts in the NHL going by each team. So I want to take a look at each team. Who's got the worst contract of the team? What did they do wrong? Let's jump right into it. So let's start off with William Karlsson, the guy where at first in that first season, he scored 2 or 3. I always get mixed up if it's 42 or 3 goals. That first inaugural season, he signed a big deal contract for, big deal. He signed a big contract for himself to up his career, solidify himself as a top goal scorer in the NHL, especially the goal scorer of the new team in the Golden Knights for Vegas. And guess what? It has not gone well for him after that. And we all know that. And the thing about it is that $5.9 million is a lot, right? But it's not like the most I've seen. Like it's not like it's not $7 million. You know what I mean? Like 5.9. It's like that's bad, but it's like William Karlsson's so good. He gets 35 points last year and 35 points, 12 goals. Now, that's the bad thing. Of course, 43. I'm an idiot. I wrote it on the board. 43 goals in the 27-18 season because that was their inaugural year. And ever since then, not even come close to that. I think his second year, he was okay, but not as good. But ever since then, 12 goals for 35 points is not good at all. I believe he played 67 games or something like that. He didn't not play half the season. He played most of the season. And that is not good. But the thing that I find worse about this contract, because really 35 points for $5.9 million, that is an overpayment by a lot, yes. But it's not like the worst thing I've seen. The thing that scares me the most is that this deal goes on to 2027, which you might find as a theme on this board. But 2027, that's 5 years. 5 more years of this contract for 35 points. And each single year, he just keeps dropping down in points and goals. And I don't know how, that is bad. That is bad, not good by any means at all. 2027, 5 years left for that. That number is just going to keep dropping. And for me, I think that the thing that helps him out is that he plays along with Jonathan Marchessault show and Riley Smith. What happens when Marchessault show starts to drop off instead of getting to 66 points? When is he going to fall off? I can only imagine William Karlsson. I wouldn't be surprised he gets 35 points. That's third line numbers for a good team. This guy, once his line mates or if he gets demoted to another line, he's being helped by the fact that he's got some guys around him. But even then, he's only getting 35 points with those guys around him. So that's a pretty scary number. That is a pretty scary number for me. 5 years left of that is the worst part. 5 years left. If it ended in 2 years, I'd be like, that's bad, but it's only 2 years. If it ended this year, it's like, whatever, it'll be over soon. But 5 years. Whew, that's a long time to have that. And the guy's not old either. He's not that old, so not very good. But another guy who signed to 2027, Alexander Pietrangelo from the St. Louis Blues to the Vegas Golden Knights. They signed him up. Now, I was one to say that when I saw the $8.8 million, I liked Pietrangelo. I liked him. I knew from that playoff run, I was like, I know he's a good guy. I know he's a good defenseman, but when I saw that number, I was like, that is not good. Now, you might be able to tell from certain things on my wall, I'm not a fan, for the most part, for the Golden Knights. Well, particularly in certain... I like them for the most part, but not certain times. But for the Golden Knights, I saw that, and at first I was like, ooh, that's a big pickup. But then I was like, but the guy's already 30-something, and to 20... it was a big contract. Big contract, 8.8 to 2027. Now, for a defenseman, it's not bad. It's not like Pietrangelo's bad by any means. 44 points for a defenseman, a +7. That is not bad at all. Well, it's not bad at all if you're an average defenseman. Let's go along with saying any average defenseman on any team. Let's pick a team. Let's go with the Minnesota Wild, Matt Dumba. If Matt Dumba got that, they'd be like, that's a pretty good season for that guy. But not for Alex Pietrangelo, signed for $8.8 million for 2027 again. And the thing about defensemen, especially on a team like the Golden Knights, I'd expect them to have a better numbers overall. He's only a +7 as their head defenseman. I mean, he played more minutes than Shea Theodore, so he's head defenseman to me. So that's an interesting thing to me. But the thing that's most interesting to me is that he has not gotten back to the numbers that he had the Blues. Now, I know their numbers aren't as good, that aren't amazing by any means, and they don't blow this one out of the water. But let's just take a look. So the last season he played with the Blues, 52 points, the year when they went on that playoff run. 52 points. The year before, 41. So he's beaten that one. But then 54, 46, and then 51 again, just in the last 6 years of the Blues. 5 years with the Blues. So, and during that time, he was being paid $6.5 million through that his last contract. His last contract with the Blues, he played for $6.5 million, which I know cap was different back then when he signed a contract or whatever. But still, $6.5 million for these type of numbers. Now they're paying him $8.8 million. Not to mention that most of his numbers back then for his plus and minus was better than it is for this team. So Pietrangelo not paying off very well for them, but right now I would say it's okay. Right now, $8.8 million for a good top defenseman guy, sure. It's not the worst, but the thing is, once again, 5 years left on this deal is what scares me. Because 44 points +7, already not reaching where he was with the Blues. And this number is, I mean, the numbers by age, and especially defensemen and a team like the Golden Knights that is very physical and kind of like basic hockey heavy, that's kind of how I think of them, is this guy's type of numbers. Big guy, he's a big guy that plays physical. He's a defenseman on a basic hockey type team, and he's getting banged up. That he's only going to get worse as he's going to get older. And 5 years left, I couldn't imagine. This year, I don't see being bad. I say, once again, he could get to, like, let's say 50. Let's see, as a good year, gets to 50 points. But after that, the Golden Knights as a whole, I think people are starting to say are going to start falling down. And I can only imagine. And then that plus-minus might be hurt a lot by the fact that their goaltender's hurt. So he might be on the ice a lot more for a goaltender that might let a lot more goals in. So that plus-minus could be affected a lot there too. So just an interesting thing, and Pietrangelo's contract's not looking very good. But the guy that's paid most to 2027, of course, is the Captain Mark Stone. Now, for me personally, it might be bias, but I have never understood the hype behind Mark Stone. In the playoffs, I guess he's good, but in the season, he's not bad. But for me, I don't get all the hype, especially for $9.5 million, $9.5 million to 2027 again. Now, there's a few things that I put him on the board, and I think a lot of people would be like, oh, yeah, okay, Sharks fan, whatever. But listen, last season, he only played 37 games, 30 points, which isn't bad. In a vacuum, 37 goals, 30 points is not bad at all. That's almost point per game. That is not bad at all. Last season, 55 games, 61 points. Once again, now he's above point per game. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. The year before that, 65 for 63. Not bad. Not bad. All of his numbers aren't bad. When he went to the Golden Knights for that first stretch when he was traded from Ottawa, 18 goals, 11 points. I mean, 18 games, 11 points. So he's always like just under point per game, or he's just above it, right? He's doing pretty good for himself. The thing that scares me is the fact that these numbers are good. These numbers are good. I'm not saying that at all. The thing that I am saying, though, is he's paid $9.5 million for 5 more years. This guy has shown in 37 games he was injured. 65 games, somewhat missing, right? Listen. Just listen, okay? The thing that scares me is if you take a look at other players around his pay range at 9.5, in the 9.5 category, we have players such as the likes of Matthew Tkachuk, Charlie McAvoy, Braden Point, not to mention Nikita Kucherov, Andrei Vasilevsky, Adam Fox, Roman Josi, and Alexander Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin. These are all guys paid the exact same, or maybe just a little bit over by a couple of them, for $9.5 million. Someone paid at $9.75 is Johnny Hockey, paid just a little bit more. You want to know two guys' names that are paid at $9 million? Kirill Kaprizov and Cale Makar. These are top of the league point per game, game-changing players on this list that I just named you. Do you think Mark Stone deserves to be in the same category as Tkachuk, McAvoy, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Roman Josi, Alex Ovechkin, and Adam Fox? I don't think so. Matt Tkachuk finished last year 104 points. Nikita Kucherov had 69 points in 48 games. I can only imagine what he could do, if he plays a full season again. Vasilevsky, the best goaltender of all time. Adam Fox, this probably, in my mind, the second best, at least offensively minded defenseman in the league. Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer of all time. Roman Josi, a guy that is consistently in the top 3 of the best defensemen in the last few years. And then, not to mention guys paid less, Kaprizov and Cale Makar. These guys are signing recent contracts. Because I could have listed guys like Sidney Crosby, but he signed his deal at an earlier time. And, of course, I know he's superstitious, so that kind of rules some things out. But Kirill Kaprizov and Cale Makar, guys that are known to be the very best at what they do, and they're paid less than Mark Stone. So for me personally, guys like Pietrangelo and Mark Stone, great guys, great hockey players. If you said, would you like this guy on your team? I would say, sure, I would like Pietrangelo and Stone on my team. But if you told me pick a guy that is paid $8.8 million or pick a player paid $9.5 million, there's a lot more players I'd rather pick than those guys. Those are contracts that are way higher than I expect. And the thing that's scarier is that these guys are also old. The same thing that I say Pietrangelo goes for Mark Stone as well. He's a very two-way defense. I mean, I don't want to say defensive mind forward, but he's a two-way forward like a Patrice Bergeron. And he's a very physical guy. He's very physical, and you already see 37 games last year. He's already getting banged up a lot. And especially on the Golden Knights, how this is a very not hatred, I don't want to say that, but passionate team. Playing for this team is going to probably wear him down a lot more than it would if he played on a different team, So Mark Stone is gonna fall off soon enough. 2027 is when it goes away. He's overpaid. And you get the point I'm trying to say here. 9.5 for what he does is way more. The Golden Knights are putting their money in the wrong place. And I know. I'm sure that if they could have, they would have rather have been able to get. Actually, no, I don't know what they would have rather have gotten. But for me personally, looking at these numbers and what's going on here, there's so many more players paid in the same pay range as these guys are that I'd rather have. So for me personally, who would I give the worst contract to? Who on this list? For me, Pietrangelo, even if he does start to fall off in points, I think he'd still be a good defenseman. He's a big guy. Now overpaid, sure, but big guy, strong guy. He can move. I think Pietrangelo, no matter how old he gets, he won't. Maybe points will fall off, but I don't think maybe defensively would. I think maybe he would do the thing that David Backes did, where instead of being a points guy, he lost kind of his skills, so he became a grinder. I feel like Pietrangelo could do that because he's a big guy. Karlsson, $5.9 million isn't as bad as what Mark Stone does. Mark Stone, for me, has the worst contract on the Vegas Golden Knights. My mind is set. I know. Tell me all down below how wrong I am. Tell me how it's actually William Karlsson. But for me, Mark Stone, with a combination of factors and most likely future and what's going on around him, players are in the league that are paid the same amount around him. It's a bad deal. It's a bad contract. The Golden Knights are signed him for a very long time as well. And that's what scares me. But that's all I have to say about the Vegas Golden Knights and who their worst contract is. Now, he's not the worst player. I didn't say that. He's not the worst at all. He's better than out of these three guys on the list, I would pick up Mark Stone out of them. But he has the worst contract out of them all. But thank you for watching. And if you like this video, make sure you pick up that. Make sure you click the red subscribe button if you like this video. leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below in the comments. Tell me how wrong I am. Who actually has the worst contract on this team? And tell me all that down below, how wrong and stupid I am for choosing Mark Stone. I know, I hate the Golden Knights. So, thank you for watching this, and until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. Too sweet. I've been your dapperly dressed host. Too sweet, and have an awesome day. And ta-ta for now.